Hi, in this video it's going to be a little bit different. This is what you might call a rambling vlog, and it's just going to be on the issue of gaming YouTubers. It's got specifically World of Warcraft YouTubers. Now, the reason I don't usually do videos like this, I occasionally do one and then start off by saying I don't usually do videos like this. They're not a common occurrence. But just in case you fancy sort of listening to someone waffle on and just put it in the background, it's a podcast, nothing going on behind me, while you're doing your world quest or something like that. It's really a reaction to a video that Az brought out from Heelsvsbabyface. And it sort of strikes at the core, I think, of where I think my perception of the full-time gaming YouTuber is very different to a lot of people's. I think a lot of people think, wouldn't it be awesome, especially if you're a gamer, if you like playing games, you like playing them a lot, wouldn't it be awesome if you can just do it full time? I actually feel sorry for them. And the video that Az produced just today or yesterday, I didn't actually look at when it was out, is the reason why in many ways. Now, I followed a number of WoW YouTubers for a few years. I followed Preach when he was first starting out. I followed Az when he was first starting out. I sort of came across him during Mop Beta. Asmongold fairly early on, not right at the start, but fairly early on. Other ones that I sort of follow, Lazy Peon, although he does very little World of Warcraft now. In fact, Lazy Peon is someone I would counterpoint with Az quite sort of strongly. Now, what this is about, if anyone hasn't seen it, I'm going to put a link to his video, Az's video, in the description below. And I think even if, because if you're into his sort of content, you're probably already subscribed, you've probably already seen it. And if you're not, he's not your sort of thing. And different personalities, you know, a thumbs up or thumbs down with different people, depend on how it is. So I can understand that. I would still give the video a watch because it is very interesting. Now, the situation he's come into is the one I can imagine lots of gamer YouTubers come into all the time. Because when I say I feel sorry for full-time gamer YouTubers, I don't feel sorry for all full-time YouTubers. There are some where I think, yeah, that's probably quite a good life. The people who have the charisma or the looks or whatever it is to be able to just vlog and make a lot of money out of it. I mean, the ability to just stare at a banana in your kitchen for a few minutes and make thousands of dollars from that. Great, that's awesome. That sounds pretty good because you can do all sorts of mad things with your life and then you vlog about it. People love it. You've got the knack of making it interesting and entertaining and lots of people like watching it. Cracking. It's a bit like a modern take on the stand-up comedian, I suppose, isn't it? Even when you're not being funny, it's just entertaining. It's just talking about your life. That would be a really good way. I have thought perhaps in the future, I have no ambition as such to become a full-time YouTuber, and it certainly wouldn't be for gaming. No way. It's my idea of hell. But it's not quite that bad, but it's still, I would no. But I have thought about other channels like a science-based channel I would quite like to get into. Not so much as an ambition to get into, but more of a fallback. My profession, I'm a teacher. Teaching, like a lot of professions, is quite ageist. In my time, I've worked in a number of places and seen people not actually at retirement age, but maybe knocking on the door, being eased out before they wanted to go. I've seen it time and time again. So I sort of know I'm going to come to a point where that ageism will probably hit me. And it would be quite nice to have something to fall back on. So I retire early along with those people and make my own money with, say, a full-time science educational YouTube channel. So I have aims to do one of those when I'm ready. I don't want to launch it and not be ready for it. So it's one of those things I keep sort of thinking, oh, I should do it now. I've got material building up, but no, not quite ready. That'll be when it be. And hopefully I will be learning from doing the World of Warcraft channel lessons that I can put into the other channel when I feel that I'm ready to do that. But why I feel sorry for full-time gamer YouTubers is because you can come into the exact situation that Az has, which is that the source material can disappear. World of Warcraft can just up sticks and leave. Now, if we look at some of the ones I follow, so who do I follow? If I look down here, there's like Fat Boss, Heelsvsbabyface, there's a few other non-YouTubers, Balula, Asmongold, there's a few other World of Warcrafty ones, Preach there, and Nobble, of course, he does his old... I haven't watched some of his stuff for a while. I might have to do that. And I've watched a lot of them from very early on. Preach, of course, I think is the big success stories. There are people who've done World of Warcraft channels and then done other things and become more successful, but he had a real plan for it. And even with him, I don't think the plan has really worked. He's very successful. There's no doubt about that. But again, you wonder, what will happen when World of Warcraft inevitably at some point stops, or even just scales back a lot to the point where his potential audience... Now, of course, he will still have a lot of people who used to play World of Warcraft who will still watch his content. But as soon as the game's no longer there, it's almost like, well, what's he going to do? Where's his source material going to come from? And I know when he was starting up, he was conscious of that. He's not an idiot. And so what he was doing was he tried to do other games as well and bring that in. And I just don't think that was I don't know whether... I think he might stream other games. I'm not sure what he does with his streaming weeks because I don't watch people stream really. But in terms of his videos, you can sort of see it's World of Warcraft. And like when I used to watch his vlogs when he, again, was first starting up, there'd be, of course, mostly World of Warcraft, but there'd be other games in there as well. Sometimes he would do vlogs and there'd be like a Batman game in the background or something like that. That doesn't seem to be so much now. It's scaled back a lot because I just think it's not being as successful. But he will know he will need to diversify if he's going to keep being a gaming YouTuber because you can't be reliant on one game. Now, Az has had the opposite problem, really. He has come to the conclusion that he just doesn't want to play World of Warcraft anymore, or at least he doesn't want to play it a lot. This is a bit of a problem if you're a full-time World of Warcraft YouTuber, because although he does some videos on Final Fantasy, which is not a game I like, I know a lot of people do, there's a lot of good things to say about it, it just doesn't quite do it for me. But, and what he said is he wants to do other games, so what he wants to do is be a general gaming YouTuber. Now, he's not the only person to be in that boat. Lazy Peon, who is someone I've also followed for some years. A lot of these people I started following, by the way, the reason why I say I followed like Preach and Az from very early days is simply because they started at the time I started following people on YouTube, because I took a big break from the game after Tier 7, which was like partway through, right at the beginning of Wrath, quite frankly. I sort of came back later on purely casually, didn't do any proper stuff, and then came back properly at the end of Cataclysm. So towards the end of Cataclysm, Dragon Soul's coming out, that's when I came back, and that's when I started doing stuff, and that's when Preach started, and I think Az started a little bit round about that time as well, a little bit later maybe. It was certainly before Mop came out, because I remember him doing videos on Mop Beta. So yeah, that's when I started following some people. Now, Lazy Peon used to do World of Warcraft content. Then he adapted to just general MMO content, which included some World of Warcraft, but he wasn't playing it very much. So when a new expansion comes out, he does something on it and then stops playing it and plays other MMOs. And then recently, this is why it so resonated, recently even he has started to think, I can't just box myself into MMOs because I want to play other games. And he, like me really, I keep saying that I want my content to reflect what I do in game. Now, I have no interest in other games. I'm not someone who likes to play lots of games. There are other games I would sort of like to play, like Elder Scrolls Online. I have an active subscription for it. Star Wars: The Old Republic. But they're the sort of games that can't... When I have a hobby, I like to get into it really deep, and it doesn't really leave time for a lot of other ones. So the reason I don't play Elder Scrolls Online very often at all, even though I keep an active subscription, I play it once every few months and then for like a few hours, and it's not because I'm getting bored, I just want to go back to World of Warcraft. The reason I'm not playing those games, even though I'm paying money for them, is not because I feel, oh no, I need to do more content for the channel, because I'm not under those constraints. It's purely that I actually want to play World of Warcraft. I want to play it more. And that's a good thing. Whereas he, Lazy Peon, as I say, what he wanted to do, the sort of general gaming. But he sort of, I think, did it a bit better way than Az. I do actually worry for Az, actually, because he has sort of phased it in. He's phased it. It could still fail, but he's phasing it in. And the real problem, I think, with being the full-time YouTuber is you are dependent upon it for your revenue, unless you have alternate revenue streams. And that's why Preach is so successful, because he knows he needs to have diverse content and other forms of revenue stream, and he went into that quite early on. He sort of knew about that. Some people just do it purely from YouTube, ad revenue, and maybe streaming as well if they have a good following and do lots of streaming, maybe they'll donation. But it's very unreliable. I mean, there's a number of things wrong with it. First of all, your wage could just disappear in smoke overnight, straight off overnight. This has happened to full-time YouTubers in a number of genres. It could be that the game itself becomes very unpopular or just stops if you're tied to one game. It could be that because Aztec is taking a big risk. There's a lot of people, there's 140,000 people subscribing to him. And they're subscribing because of his... There might be some who were subscribing just for the odd bit of Final Fantasy stuff. I don't know, because he does do that now and then. But there'll be, most of them will be for his World of Warcraft content. It'll be interesting to note how many... I'm sure most people will stay subscribed. I will stay subscribed. But if I'm honest, I won't watch the content, because if it's not... I don't watch all these videos as well. I'm like a typical subscriber. Every now and then, I say subscribe so that I can see something. If I see it pops up on my thing saying, oh, so-and-so's brought this video, most of the time I'll just go, no. And then sometimes I go, oh, that's interesting, I'll watch that. So I probably won't now, because there aren't any other games I'm interested in. So it will be interesting, because he is dependent on it. He doesn't have alternate revenue streams or anything like that. And he is dependent upon it for like his rent and paying his bills and things like that. And people can, I think, have the view that you're making a lot of money from it. If I sort of compare what I make with what views I get, and then scale it up to the views he gets, because you can easily look at how many views a channel is getting. You don't have to tot it up yourself, because you'll never do that anyway. You can use Social Blade, which is a site for nosying in on channels. So you can directly compare. And if we assume, because it's not based on views, of course, it's based on like ad interaction. But if we assume that it's a similar proportion, you can sort of roughly guess at how much someone's making. And I don't know if he's making much from streaming. But he certainly isn't making a massive amount of YouTube. So it wouldn't take much to drop him in the financial shit. And the same with any full-time YouTuber, even the successful ones, if they're sort of specifically gaming ones. And it's a saturated market. There are so many people doing gaming videos, because you've got to think about it this way as well. To be a successful YouTuber, you have to offer something that others are not. Otherwise, why should people watch your stuff? Why should they subscribe to you? No one's going to actively watch all the videos 50 different YouTubers bring out. And there are many more than 50 YouTubers bringing stuff out for WoW content. So you have to offer something that someone else is not. And in some areas, you can do that really well. So, for example, like if you did a cooking channel, if you had a particular thing, like a niche area of expertise, then you could do your cooking channel like that. If you're really good at coming up with recipes, unique recipes, then that'd be really good. And people will follow you for that, because other people, those recipes just don't exist anywhere else, because you have invented them. Whereas when it's a gaming channel, and when you're doing general games, because you're never going to be expert in any of them. All you're doing is doing reviews and discussing them. You can't ever do, like, for example, what I'm doing here, which is more guide orientated than an entertainment or review orientated, because you're not playing any one game long enough to become really expert, even if you're a good gamer naturally. And you imagine how many thousands of people are putting out the same sort of content. How you sort of rise above that is quite difficult, because life is a pyramid scheme. There's only a few people can be successful in anything. It's a complete pyramid scheme, every aspect of life, and this is no different. So yeah, this is the reason why I would never actually myself want to become a full-time gaming YouTuber, because you've got the sword of Damocles constantly overhead. Someone wittier, more charismatic, and with greater insights than you can come along, and then people watch them instead. There's so many people doing it as well. And as YouTube takes off more and more, there's going to be more and more people. I mean, I actually think... I wonder what would happen if I'd have started my channel several years ago, where it would be now. Would it have been successful? Would it not? Am I going to naturally reach a plateau? What I do know is it's probably harder now than it ever was if I'd have started it a few years ago. There was life is all about spotting opportunities and taking them. I haven't always done that. When it comes to the YouTube, I remember, because my YouTube channel, I mean, if you look at the date it started, it says something like 2012. That's not when I started the channel, really. I just created a YouTube account so that I could upload videos, kill videos, really, raid kills for like guildies and friends and stuff like that, when I came back to the game, round about late Cataclysm, round about the time that like Preacher and Az was starting up as well. And some others, I think Asmongold as well, round about that time. Maybe he was a bit after, I think. But I did one video in MOP. Again, I don't know why I did it, actually. It was to do with one of the legendary quests, the Challenge of Zuen for melee DPS. And I remember looking at it, and I tried a couple of times. I thought, this is hard. This is hard. And then I did what anyone would do. I persisted and I tried again. No, I didn't. I looked at Google and I went, how do you do this? Any little tips anyone's got? Couldn't really find anything on YouTube. Couldn't really find anything. Thought, I looked on forums. Thought, fine. And then one person just happened to say to me, oh yeah, you do it like this. And I tried doing it like that. I thought, it's not working. This is not working. So in the end, I just did something else. And it worked. It worked like a charm. Killed it straight away. So I'd recording it anyway. I thought, I'll stick it up. I don't know who I was sticking it up for. I just stuck it up. And it ended up getting loads of views. Like, to date, right now, it is still my most viewed video. And for the last year, I've actually been trying to do videos to get views. That one that I didn't try it, I just stuck it up there, is still my most viewed thing. And it's not like it's got views over time, because it's irrelevant now. There's no point in looking up now. It actually got almost all of those views back at the time, a few years ago. And I sometimes think to myself, what if the thought, because the thought never occurred to me, what if the thought occurred to me at the time, this is done quite well, maybe I should do more videos like this. Who knows what would have come of that? But I didn't even think of that. So an opportunity arose and I didn't take it. It may have gone nowhere. I may not have enjoyed it at the time. I'm enjoying it now. I may not have enjoyed it a few years ago. Who knows? But when you're not enjoying it, of course, it is much more of a chore. And that is the problem for a gaming YouTuber, because games come in and out of fashion. You are at some point going to get sick of a game. I mean, I tend not to. I'm really weird. What happens with me is a better game comes along. Like, for example, I used to be well into, before World of Warcraft came along, Warhammer Fantasy Battle, the tabletop game. Loved it. Still do. It's not that I haven't played it for many, many years. I don't even know what's going on. The only reason I have a vague idea of what's going on with that game now is because I have a friend who works as an illustrator for Games Workshop in their headquarters. And I used to go to tournaments. I was really into it, and then just stopped because World of Warcraft came out, and I went into that. At some point, either World of Warcraft will just die, and I won't have found something else to replace it, sad me, or something else will come along that I think is even better, and I will just switch like I always have done. There's nothing on the horizon yet, it has to be said, but, and who knows what it could be. It wouldn't necessarily be a computer game. It could be something else, some other interest. But a lot of people, once a game is old, then it's old, and they want the new thing. So being a full-time gaming YouTuber, unless you're able to carve a niche from actually just, can't think of the real word now to use for this, but just to fly and dip in, taste it a little bit, and then go somewhere else, almost like doing a pub crawl of games. If you can carve yourself a niche doing that, then you're probably okay. But then the problem comes, what if you find a game that you really like a lot, and then you don't want to do these other games? Because it might not sound like it, but there's a lot of time. Even doing this video will take me 2 hours, because I'm talking for bloody God knows how long. I haven't even finished yet. And then I'll have to edit it. If I have another coughing fit, I'll have to cut that out. I seem to be better now. My cough seems to be a lot better. So it hasn't happened yet, and hopefully it won't happen for the next video. But if it does, when I do one of these rambling vlogs, I think, oh shit, now I've got to go all the way through and listen to the whole bloody thing. I've got to listen to myself, for God's sake. And then cut out all the coughing fits. But But even if I don't, I've still got to put it into an editor. Sometimes I'll put stuff in the background. I'm not going to here because this is just an off-the-cuff vlog. I wasn't expecting to do it. I've got other videos planned for this weekend, so they'll be my main focus. This is as simple a video as I can possibly do. But the time it'll still take me to record it and then just put it into something and render it, put some titles in the background, at least something there so you're not seeing a green screen, and render it, upload it, will still take a certain amount of time. And when you imagine you're doing a review of a game, you're going to play that game for hours and you're going to like record it for hours. Then you've got to go through your recording. I'm not saying every second. You might sort of think, you might write the odd note down. Oh, at this time, find that. But still, you've got to go through a lot of it. It takes a long time to cut like edited highlights out and stitch them together. And then you've got to, you know, put nice transitions in there. So it's sort of one scene fades into the other, so it's not jarring. And then render that and upload that takes a long time. So if that's going to be your life, to then suddenly come across a game that you want to spend all your time on because it's so amazing, then you're thinking, oh shit, people are expecting me to cover all these new games, but I just want to play this. And you're buggered. You have the opposite problem to ours. You found a game that you just want to sit on for the rest of your life, or for a few more weeks anyway. So the whole concept is hellish, and I would not wish upon my worst enemy, in fact my worst enemy's dog, that anyone would have such a life. Because the idea, because people think it must be really great, coming back to the original point, you get to play games, talk about them and get paid. But in actual fact, once you're in that situation, surely it must be a case that sometimes you just can't be asked, but you need to do it. Because it's your job. You've made it your job. You've made your hobby your job. Hell on earth. So that is why I would never sort of, you know, it doesn't matter what happens with this channel. If I ever go full time, it's not on a gaming channel. It would be on something else. Where I can see it as work, and also something where my source material is never going to go away, which is why a science education based channel really appeals to me, because I'm a science educator and science ain't going away. Sorry, where is it, North Carolina, they seem to have a bit of an issue with science. Apologies if anyone's from there, but you know what, if you vote against solar panels because they suck the energy out of the sun and kill plants and give you cancer, then yeah, so that idea would be a goer for me. But again, as a fallback, I wouldn't actually give up my job to do it, because again, even that can fail. But if I ever found myself getting a bit kicked out the door when I'm older, then it's something to fall back on. But a gaming channel, no. But if you haven't seen the video from ours, I would recommend you see it. It is quite a poignant one, I think, and it does show the sort of human side of being a full-time YouTuber, and really I think it is a cautionary tale. And I think anyone who ever has any ambitions to become a full-time YouTuber or full-time social media person should look at things like this, and I think you should be aware of the downsides of it. And if you still want to go for it, go for it. But it is the reason why I wouldn't, at least not for that genre. But anyway, if you've made it to the end, thanks for listening. Do put a comment below, and do watch that video from ours, which I've linked in the description below. And I'm off now to do some proper videos. So until then, I'll see you later.